Welcome to the Pure Energy Healing Academy. Welcome to my Bajerski YouTube channel. Welcome to my little beautiful room where we meditate over the years, where we give people healing over the years, and where we've made magic really. Magic happens when you create a surrounding space with an energetic frequency that is filled with nothing but pure love and healing. And you can create that anywhere in the world. You can create it in your bedroom, you can create it in your lounge, you can create it in your kitchen. It's a matter of clearing away all the fear and the worry, clearing away all the negative emotions that you hold deep within you. And you make a decision to create a kind of temple, a kind of space where it's sacred, where nothing can enter that room other than love. Shamanic energy, shamanic principle is creating circles or spaces where they do their work. And it's the same principle. Just because somebody calls themselves a shaman doesn't mean they're more powerful than you. That's a fallacy. That's absolutely nonsensical, because you were born equal to any single spirit that came into this world, born of a spacesuit, which we all wear. That frequency that we work towards, because it's not something that can just instantly happen, because you have to work towards it. You know, you go to the gym, you want to lose some weight. You go to the gym because you want to build a muscle. It's exactly the same energetic frequency. So meditation, it's the same frequency. You have to work on it to build it up. You might not see it as a muscle, you might not see it as weight loss, but it's still the same. Oh, how come you can meditate and I can't? Because practice makes perfect. How come, Mark, you're a brilliant reader? Because I worked hard and I practiced every day. Oh, you must have been born with it. What you talking about, born with it? We're all born equal. No, we're not. Yes, we are. You're just told that you're not. You're just told that you have to follow. You're told that you need to look for a guru. You're told that somebody's better than you. They're not better. They're just practicing something that you haven't practiced yet. How do you think somebody becomes a master at something? Of course, there are moments in life where you witness a child playing a piano that they've never played it before. So you're witnessing something of a child's memory of a past life. That happens. It's very rare, but it happens. So if that's the case, surely we've all been back. Surely we've all been, and we're all coming back all the time at one point or another, whether it's this planet or another planet, wherever we go to in this world. But the spirit is always the spirit. And a lot of the times people ask me what consciousness is, what spirituality is, what's psychic, what's this. And I think it's just a moment when we remember who we are. Remember not the spacesuit, but the spirit within, because the spirit within is all seeing. It's all that ever is and ever will be, never ending, never dying. There is no grief in the spirit. There's only happiness and joy and love. The spacesuit that we're in, we're pressing buttons that are affecting us every day. We're seeing pain, suffering, we're seeing fear, worry, we're seeing programmed information that is being pumped into you, so it comes into the spacesuit. How you dilute that, how you let it go, is the art that I speak of. Meditation, psychic, healing, or some people call awakening. Awakening what? What are you awakening to? I'm awakened to what? Everything. Yeah, of course you are. I'll drink to that, yeah. Okay, see you later, pal. When somebody says to me, I know nothing, I have more respect for them because they're closer to the truth. I know nothing. What I've learned is a speck, is a grain of sand in this world. We know nothing, and yet the ego within us tells us we know everything. Actually, at that point, I don't normally do this. I could do this all day. I have literally hundreds and hundreds of these. but I don't do this because it's not it's too close to ego. But hey, this is lovely. This is lovely. So thank you for a beautiful card. It says thank you on made by Paper Source. Okay, it's beautiful colours. Lavender, looks like lavender. It's beautiful. So thank you for choosing it. This is from, well, I'll read it, shall I? I'll try and read it because I'm not very good at reading, but I'll try and read it. First of all, let me read it. Dear Mark, thank you so much for the oil and the crystals. It makes me very, very happy and excited. I am also definitely looking forward to trying the oil out. It smells so good. My mum also said that you sent all of it out specially for me. Of course I did. And not just me. The people who love you in the spirit world who said to me, hey Mark, Charlotte needs something lovely today. Please give it her. And I went, okay, no problem. My pleasure. So just remember that, Charlotte. It's not just me. It's the people who love you in the spirit world who know how special and kind and caring and strong you are. So it's a little gift from everybody who loves you. I don't know who it is, but you probably know more than me. It smelled so good. My mum also said that you sent it out especially for me. I did. Thank you for being so generous. Absolutely no problem. You're generous too. You're lovely. We just keep passing it on to people that we care for. Thank you so much. Sincerely, Charlotte. What a beautiful name, Charlotte. Love your name too. And your picture is incredibly beautiful. Very special. It really is. Three beautiful souls, blue with eyes, two faces and another face there, another head. They're all heads. And then here, a lovely landscape picture. I can see how much time and love and effort you spent in this, and I love it with all my heart. I'm going to treasure this. I'm going to put this with my special book of a beauty. I mean, your handwriting, that handwriting is gorgeous. I don't know how old you are, but you've done such a great job. I can see you've taken your time, effort, and what you've said there touched my heart. So, Charlotte, love you very much. Thank you so much. And please also let us know, because us adults have lost the memory of the magic, whereas you hold the magic in you. So tell us what you feel from everything that was sent to you. Tell us what happened to you with the smell, how it made you feel. Tell us your truth and your experience with it. Let us know. Send us another message sometime and let us know. Because us adults, we've forgot the magic, and we're trying every day to bring that magic back. So cheers to you. Today's a beautiful day to talk about a subject that for me is a very important subject that we misinterpret, that people take advantage of, as everybody does these days. Whether it's taking advantage of you because you're in a low vibration and because they want to try and pretend that they're stronger and bigger and more powerful, and they want to sell you something. And that energy is called grief, when we lose somebody that we love. Grief to me is part of the process of the spacesuit that we're in. So grief is an energetic frequency. And the problem with grief, it's only there because of a little bit of selfishness, it's true, a little bit of denial, and a whole heap of not understanding the real world that we come from. You see, if you really truly understood the world that we come from, our home, you wouldn't feel grief. If you didn't suffer from a little bit of maybe it's not a good word to use, but you know that that it's not really selfishness. It's because it is and it isn't, right? I miss my mum. I want her to be here. Why isn't she here? Well, maybe it was her moment to go in back home and to look after you now. And maybe it's your moment to try and connect to her. So instead of being upset and feeling angry or being a little bit selfish because you don't have your mum and everybody else have, why don't you reconnect like I do with my mum? So at 12 years old, my mum had to go home, and there was a reason for it. And I tried to understand those reasons, and I tried to make sense of them. And even when I was 12 years old, 13 or 14, somewhere like that, I know this is going to sound unbelievable and you might not believe me, but I actually looked at myself and said to myself, how have I become stronger? What was the reason for my mum leaving? And is there anything positive out of that? Can you imagine that? At being so young, saying that to myself. I truly mean that from the hand of my heart. I remember walking home thinking my mum's not home anymore. She's not there. And you know what I came up with? One of the things that made me understand a little bit more. Maybe she was telling me. Maybe she was speaking to me. Maybe it wasn't my imagination. Maybe it wasn't my brain. But let me tell you something. I was spoiled when my mum was here, because my brothers and sisters there was a gap of 7 years, and I was a mistake. My mum said, you were the best mistake I ever had. I mean, she loved all her children. She loved them to bits. She was a devoted mother in so many ways, and a wife to a husband who was abusive. But I was walking home thinking, she's not home. She's not going to be home. She's never going to be here. And I could feel myself sinking, but yet I could feel another energetic frequency trying to get into me. So I knew my mind was trying to pull me down into the cesspit of grief. But then there was another voice, another whisper speaking to me. And I listened to that voice. So, as I said, there was a gap between me and my brothers and sisters of 7, 8 years, something like that. And because a mother who looked after 3 children, and then there was a gap, and I came along, not only was she more confident in looking after me, because her other children were slightly older, but she knew how to look after her children, so she wasn't as worried, so she enjoyed it more, I think. That wasn't my fault, but to my brothers and sisters, maybe they might have been a little bit jealous. I'm sure they were. I think I would have been like, oh, somebody's come along and she's more loving towards that child. So I ended up being, she couldn't really spoil the other 3 because they were all so close together, and it was like a challenge just looking after all 3. But me, she could spoil me a little bit more, and she did. That's the truth. I was spoiled. And my brothers will tell you that. My sisters will tell you that I was spoiled. And that was no fault of mine. When a child is spoiled, it's because of the parents. Now, that wasn't my dad, that was my mum. So my mum loved me and she spoiled me. Now, I realized that whatever I wanted, which, you know, I remember I wanted a game. I got it at Christmas. I wanted, my clothes were all kind of hand-me-downs and I looked like Rupert Bear. But she'd spoil me at certain points, and whenever I wanted something so much, like I wanted a rally grifter. I didn't want a chopper, I wanted a rally grifter, and the rally grifter was in the rally shop, and it was in the front window, and it was red, and it had gears on the handlebars. It had 3 gears, I think, on this side. Whereas everything else had just had brakes and that was it. But this had gears so you could go up. And I'm like looking at this. I used to go into every morning, Mum, please let's go and look at the bike. And we went to look at it, and sure enough, Christmas Day came and she bought me the rally grifter. Now this is like a lot of money. My mum must have had to work so hard. My dad wouldn't have contributed at all. But so I got this rally grifter and I was so proud of this bike. And so I became kind of spoil in everybody else's eyes. She left the world. All of a sudden, that energy of my mum helping me with whatever I wanted had gone. So I had a choice now, and I believe wholeheartedly, my mum said to me while I was walking, if you want nice things, if you want things that you like, then you're going to have to work for it now. So one of the things I look back on and think, you know what, Mum, if you were actually in this physical world, I think I'd have turned out to be a spoiled brat, completely spoiled and not a nice person. But because you left, I learned to defend. I learned to look after myself. And I did. I learned quickly. And I learned how the world worked and how to try and make money and to get things that I wanted. Now, that's all I knew then. I didn't know anything else. I turned away from the magic and I just wanted things, nice things. I don't think I spent all my life just wanting nice things. I saved money up and I like to go fishing, which I don't do anymore now. I used to do things that, like play football like everybody else does and spend a lot of time on my own. But I guess what I'm saying is that I learned not to allow grief to take over me by looking at things that I look back on now and say, you know what, Mum, it's a good job you left because I wouldn't have been as nice as I am now. I miss you to bits and I hold you often and I talk to you often. But if you would have been here, I don't think it would have been the same. I don't think I would have ended up the same person. So you might look at me and think that's ridiculous, but that was one way of me becoming stronger and finding new ways of understanding life after life. So that was one thing. Grief in itself, if you've lost a dog or if you've lost a cat or you've lost a child or, nobody should lose a child. And I'd love the fact that if we came into this world, we wouldn't lose anybody and then we'd move into the light. That would be the perfect thing. But then the whole point of being here is going through the experience. And part of the experience is not just joy, but suffering. And that must be an awful thing for people to think. Is that why I've come here? What's the point of coming here? But really, if you don't experience suffering, if you don't experience challenges, if you don't experience people saying nasty things about you, if you don't experience your house being broken into, if you don't experience just terrible things happening to you physically, mentally and emotionally, then what was the point of being here? You might as well have stayed at home and lived in that energetic frequency of all is and ever will be. So there's a reason why we come here. This is the only world, I believe, that has that low vibration for you to experience and to stand strong and be in your power and learn to not only live with it, because grief is very difficult to get rid of, and you don't get better, you don't feel better, you just change and things change as perspective changes and you learn to live with it and cope with certain things. And when you move into back home, you understand, oh, now I understand why I went through that. Now I get it. And a lot of the times I say to people, we do create our own life. We can change it through moments, but we always end up going back to certain things that we came to experience. And I think a lot of them are very similar. We experience things very similar because there's only so much things you can experience on an earthly plane in a spacesuit. So one of them is going to be grief. One of them is surely going to be heartbreak. If you haven't had your heart broken, so to speak, you haven't gone through that, then yeah, maybe you're on holiday here. And I've talked about this before. Some people do come on holiday because they've had such a terrible time in the past lives. But we stick with grief. I think I'm pretty like a lot of nurses and who understand grief. It's not such a big deal in the sense of people leaving this world. And I remember my sister, she is a devout Mormon. And I went to the Mormon church, and one of the beautiful things that I remember was going to a funeral. I don't know whose funeral it was, but she said to me, you know, Mark, we rejoice when people die. And I'm like, really? You get happy and you rejoice? And I thought, wow, that actually rung something in me that made sense. And you know, when you watch certain programs when you're a kid, and one of them was James Bond, and they were celebrating somebody's death, and it was, I think, in Mississippi, somewhere like that, and they're playing their music, and anyway, there wasn't somebody in, anyway, the fact that we celebrate life after life, so we move back home, for me makes sense. The somber, the misery, the crying and all that doesn't ring true to me. I'm sorry, it does not ring true. It doesn't make sense. It's almost like it was created for people to wallow in the cesspit of negativity and darkness. And when my grandma used to, it must have been a terrible moment for my grandma to see her child die. No mother should see their child go before them. That's how I feel, but it happens. And it's part of this life, this journey. But for her to grieve was wearing black. And I really did not like that. And I remember once saying to my grandma, when are you going to stop wearing black, Grandma? And she was very upset with me. She was very angry that I said that. And I thought, well, why would you be angry? But I do understand now why. Because she felt through religion, through programming of her life in a village, of how they use this as part of their grieving process. I don't think she ever took black off till the day she died. She wore black every day. And that was a sure sign to me to say, why are you still remembering my mum in this way? Why are you still grieving? You think my mum wants you to grieve and wear black every day? Why are you doing it? To appease yourself or other people? You know? So that was strange to me as a kid. And I said, Charlotte is another one. Charlotte probably understands what life really is more than all of us. We've just been so programmed that all we see is what we're taught by other people, which obviously is wrong. Look where we are now. Look at what we've become. Look at the world. Look at the insanity. Look at the madhouse. Look at the lunatic asylum that we live in now. People are just like, seriously? Take it off. And know that you have an amazing ability to heal. Eat properly. Look after yourself. Start to believe in yourself. Start to feel the power within you. But no, we're so scurrying away like frightened babies. So it's ridiculous, the world, the way it's turned out. We really are going backwards and not forwards, but that's deliberate. Of course it is. If you can turn an adult and their spacesuit into one of fear, then you can control them and do anything you want to them very easily. Biggest trick in the book, problem, reaction, solution. Biggest trick in the book. It's been played all the time. It's always been played. If you can take a child and clear fear from that child and let that child grow up knowing and understanding life with no fear, then you can't control that child. That child is strong and confident and knows deep down what it wants, where it wants to go, realizes the flow of life, everything is as it should be. And the child grows to be a mighty warrior. Well, darkness doesn't want that. Darkness wants to control. Darkness wants to stick you into a prison. Darkness doesn't want you to move. It wants you to fear. So grief is a perfect example of where we are today. And you're going to say what you're talking about. I'm going to say, look, fear of grief has made us and turned us into an absolute wreck, a global wreck. If you understand grief, if you understand what grief is and what it means, if you understand what the attachment to grief is, which is the passing of this world into the next, and the next world, let me tell you, there are no words, there is no image you can create, there is no understanding. A grain of sand in the sea wouldn't even, you wouldn't even come close to what our home world is and how truly beautiful it is. It isn't a prison. It's always ever will be expansion. Anything your thought and feeling, you manifest and you are wherever. A single thought takes you to where you want to be. So it's so incredible. The feeling that you have is pure. Pure beyond. If you times pure by 1,000,000,000, then you're close to what I'm saying. Freedom by times that by 10,000,000,000,000. You're not controlled. You're not told what to do. You don't do things wrong. It is just as it is. It's all pure. This is the only planet where we're tested to do right and wrong, good and bad, love, evil, whatever. It's all here. It's the mixture. You don't get that in the home world. It doesn't work like that. To progress as a spirit, because everything progresses, everything is learning, everything is changing. So we come to this world to learn, to progress. So we don't, there's no such thing as lowering and hiring. It just is an evolution and a natural thing when we come into this world and then leave again. What did we experience? How did we feel it? We don't judge ourselves in the sense of, oh, I've done wrong. That makes me a lower spirit. No, you're a beautiful, powerful spirit when you move into the home world. But you as an individual drop of water in the ocean wants to expand, because if you expand, the whole ocean expands as a consciousness. It's incredible. It's so beautiful. You have no idea how powerful. How do I know? Because I've been with people who have moved into the light. I've experienced this with people with healing, and they've told me their stories while they've been there. I've meditated and understood this. I've reached only a handful of times nirvana, where you realize this is unreal. It's you can't put it into words. And when you see that transition from this world into the next world, you have no fear at all of moving home. In fact, you smile and rejoice because the suffering has ended. Because we suffer every day. In truth, look at what's happening. People are going to argue with that now and say, no, we don't. Well, we do, because suffering is always being given to us by MSM media. They don't give you love. They don't give you joy. They don't give you the miracles that happen around you every day that I see and you see. They give you fear. They're telling you all the time. They're feeding you fear constantly. They're trying to make you something into a nervous mental wreck. Because by doing that, then they can control you by the forces that are meant to be protecting you, right? Makes sense. It's the biggest trick in the book. And then they can fool you into doing whatever they want. So if they then tell you, do this, take this, you'll do it without even question. Now, when you are your power, when you realize there's no such thing as death, and if I left tomorrow, I'd be filled with joy and happiness because I'd be able to look after my children and look after the people I love and know that everything is what it is. When you realize that, you have no fear of death. I don't fear death at all, because there's no such thing as death. But the darkness, these people have created this idea of death and grief and all the pain and suffering doesn't exist. You've created it by listening to these people. When you can clear that away and say, just take your nonsense, just be gone with you, you silly, sit down, Fauci, sit down, Gates, sit down, stop being naughty children, just enough, stop it, stop being naughty kids, no, enough, Sit down. Leave all the other children alone. They're fine. Listen, kids, don't listen to these two. They're a bit crazy. They're just little manipulators. Sit down, both of you. Enough. And when you realise this, MSM media, you journalist, sit down. Stop. Enough. Stop regurgitating stuff that's been told you to say. Stop it. You know it's nonsense. You know it's a pack of lies. Shut up now. Okay, when you realise that and you let that go, and you realise that life is a beautiful thing if you create it without fear. If you don't buy into all of these things, which is very, very challenging because it's a constant. It's a constant break in your soul, break in your spirit. It's deliberate, by the way, guys. All of this is deliberate. That's why you never hear anything good on the black screen. Never. Very rarely. Then do you remember many years ago, if you're as old as me, if you're as young as me, you'll remember, and that was the news. And now to end on a good note, that's gone. Because they feed fear. And because the world is now so small and everybody has a camera, it's very easy to capture one thing out of 8 billion people and share it to everybody. And everybody goes, oh, hang on a minute. That's just one thing out of 8 billion people. Why are you only sharing that fear? Why aren't you sharing the amazing thing that happened last week? Why didn't you share the 100,000 euros Mark Bajerski just gave away last year? Why don't you come and say, hey, who did you give it away? And we can show you everybody that we gave, all the crystals, oils and incense. Why did they show that? Why did they show kindness and love? I tell you why they won't. Because they don't want to spread love. They don't want to spread joy. They don't want to spread happiness. They don't want to spread good deeds. Because all of these things don't make anybody money. But when you spread fear and you tell people what to do, then these terrible, terrible people who are controlling everything through the screen are making vast wealth for themselves while all the little people are suffering. It's always been that way. And when you realise that, you say, sit down, behave, not interested, stop, enough, put that needle down, stop it, behave yourself. When you realise that and you take it that way and you see it that way, then grief disappears, fear disappears, and then you start to create your own life, your own happiness, your own joy. You start to see the joy and the love around and stop looking at the misery and sadness and everybody buying into this mental illness that is being created by these people. And you start to then bring joy into the world and you start to share all the love and all the happiness and you do what you can and you realize that you can't be manipulated, you can't be brainwashed, you can't be hypnotized, you can't be voodoo spelled by this world, global, new world order. It doesn't work because you know that your strength, your power, your happiness, your joy overcomes all of that weakness and fear. And thus, all of the low vibration of losing somebody, of what if, what's going to go wrong, everything is this, all that disappears. All of that goes because you're no longer in that energetic frequency. And then magic happens. Magic happens. Hey, how come you're not feeling bad? How come you're not upset? How come things are... Well, because I can see through it all. And it's a lie. Well, what do you mean? Everybody's dying. Well, I don't see anybody dying. I don't see anybody falling down dead. Everything's fine to me. Everything's fine and I'm creating my life. I'll help anybody around me. I'll do anything to help people. But I'm not buying into fear. Nobody's selling me for this. Sorry, my love, there's no crazy here. We don't buy crazy here. Take care of yourself. Boom. Not interested. Switch it off. Television, straight out of the window. Throw that away. That is the biggest disease. That is the biggest virus in the world. So when you realize that, you create a strength, and you realize that now it's time, which is really important in your life. Now is the time to look inside. That's a challenge. Now is the time to see what this life is really about. Now is the time to see what our journey is. Now, yes, all of those things that I talk about is part of the journey. But once you overcome that, now you step into this new energy of awakening, enlightenment, consciousness. And you want to hire it now. You want to understand how I can hire it. And the only way you can understand that is by clearing the body of toxins, clearing the body of all the stuff that is being pumped into you every day by those very same people who want to make you sick and ill. So then you make an effort and you start to look for natural products. You start to look for healthy products, that what does not contaminate your spacesuit so it doesn't work anymore. The physical has to work with the spiritual. So I'm not interested in your toxins. I'm not interested in your needles. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm going to start to look after my body, and I'm going to start to be wise and clever. I'm going to look for, let food be my medicine, and let medicine be my food. I'm going to look for the grains. I'm going to look for the beans. I'm going to look for the lentils. I'm going to look for all these things that, what are they? Okay, let me just look. What does that fruit do? How does that help my body? It's here for a reason. Nobody talks about that. And of course, it's all in there. It's there to be seen, plain and simple. All fruit and all vegetables have signs, and they tell you what they're for. And when you look at a fruit and look at the shape of it, the shape is normally the shape of something in your body. It's incredible. And then you realize, that makes sense. Mango, shape of a heart, must be good for the heart. A carrot, cut it, snap it, look at it. Oh yeah, it's the eye. Good for the eye. Walnut, crack it. Oh, it's the shape of the brain, must be good for the brain. And so on and so on. You can keep going all day. So Mother Earth gives you everything you need for your body. It's incredible. So now you know to heal your body, the medicine, the real medicine that was given to you by Mother Earth, because you were born on this earth and she gave you everything she needs, is there when it grows for you. That's there to heal you. When you realize that, you start to heal your body temple. The body temple is a spacesuit that you're keeping clean, and all the buttons are working now. So everything's working fine. There's no mental illness, because all of a sudden now you realize that all you've been told out there is a lie. So you need to let it go and begin a new life. So who's the teacher? There's only one teacher. You. You become the teacher and the pupil. Like I did at 38, I started to listen to me. There's nothing wrong with listening to people, but you have to make the conscious decision which is right and wrong. Does this feel right? Doesn't feel right today. Doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean it's right. But today that doesn't feel like something. I don't want to do that today. Good for you. What do you want to do? I'd like to try this. Good, try that then. Does that feel right? This feels right. Then you're doing the right thing. If somebody said, don't do that, why don't do that? Leave them alone. Let them do what they want. Mark, you're not a very good teacher, are you? I said, no, I'm not a teacher. I just share what I do. And do you like anything that I've shared with you today? Yes, Mark, I like that. Well, try it, because if you like it, it means that your spirit is saying there's something in that. So there might be something in that if you follow what you like. Oh, I like that. Follow it then. Yeah, but I can't because somebody's telling me not to. Who's telling you not to? My brain. Why is your brain telling you not to? Because of what somebody told me. Then tell your brain to shut up. Tell your brain to be quiet. Tell your brain to take a holiday today and go and do what you feel you want to do. Oh, but I might upset somebody. That's not your issue. If they're upset, that's their issue, not yours. That they deal with that. You don't deal with that. Don't get upset because somebody is upset because you decide that you want to do something that they don't want to do. Well, I shouldn't do it. No, actually, they're selfish for not letting you, allow you to do what you want to do. In fact, it's not about them allowing you anyway. They shouldn't even, excuse me, just leave them alone. Why are you being so selfish? Leave that person to do what they want to do and let them enjoy it. And if you really love them, you'll let them do it. Or else you're a selfish person and you're doing it for your own, oh no, I'm doing it because I'm protecting them. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because if you trust them and love them, you let them do whatever they want. So let them fly. Thank you very much. Do yourself a favor. Now, you do what you want to do. Oh, I can't do that. So you're as bad as what you're trying to put into. You are your own worst enemy. Come here, give us a hug. What is it you want to do? Well, I'd really like to do that. Why don't you do it? Because I don't want to upset. Okay, excuse me, let this person do what they want to do. What do you mean? No. You come here, have a cuddle. And we break the mold of everybody who's fear. And we need to break that and stop that. So now we tell our children, do what you want to do. And I support you in whatever you want to do. I know you can do it. Because whatever you do and whatever happens, even if you fall, you'll get back up and you'll become stronger and more powerful. And that's how we learn, and that's how we grow, and that's how we awaken to our true purpose of life. So don't you stop yourself because you're frightened of what your mum and dad thinks, or your grandma, or your friend, or your partner. Don't you do that. You are here for your spiritual growth. And yes, love everybody and respect them and understand that they've got their thoughts and feelings. But don't you be imprisoned by your mum and dad's weakness because they didn't do it. You go out there and do what you want. I know we've gone from grief to something completely different, but this is how I talk. Today was just a little chat from my heart to yours. Food for thought. Please remember that the more healthy, organic things you put in your mouth, the less toxic crap that is being given to you in supermarkets that is not food, that does not heal you and does not strengthen you. So eat more healthy and wise. That will then strengthen your body, and your body will say thank you. So your spacesuit will say thank you so much. We needed that for here. Now that's strong. Can we try something else? Can we just have a banana? Can we just have an apple? Oh my God, the apple has just fixed 1,000 things in the spacesuit. Actually, 10,000 things is the truth. Oh my God, thank you so much. An apple a day does keep the doctor away, trust me. And so on and so on. And now the spacesuit's becoming strong. All of a sudden, the spacesuit now has wiped away the screen, which was mucky, but because it's eaten an apple, it's cleaned the screen, so now I can see outside. And all of a sudden, some of the old parts which were rusty have now been cleaned, and now they feel everything. So now I feel more and see more, because I am looking after my spacesuit. So the spirit can then be what it's meant to be. The spacesuit, which is your body temple, needs to be cleaned with food, whole food, nuts, seeds, plants, roots, all the things that Mother Earth gave it. If you can keep doing that every day and smell the food, smell everything, that's what I need today. Attune to what you need to eat and listen to your body. It will tell you. With fruit and vegetables, what happens is this spacesuit becomes amazing. And the spirit, which is always amazing, which connects perfectly, and then you become all that you want to be. You find your path. You find magic. People come into your life. Love comes into your life. Happiness comes into your life. Balance of this spacesuit, which is the mind, sometimes going crazy, leaves because everything in that spacesuit helmet is all perfect now, so there's nothing to be crazy about. You are here to look after yourself. No doctor, no nurse, no medical industry, nobody on TV is here for you. You and you alone can conquer your life and your path. You alone are the answer to you, because only you know your spacesuit. Only you knows your spirit. Only you know. Even when you say you don't know, if you take these valuable steps, you will find that your eyes open and that magic happens in your life, and it happened to me. So there's no reason at all why it shouldn't happen to you. So take my words, take my love, take my energy, and shine bright today. Make today the first day of the rest of your life. Make the start now. Love you all. Thank you again, Charlotte. Really mean that. Thank you, Charlotte. I hope this meant something to you too. I'm sure you are far more knowledgeable than all of us. And I want to say thank you to everybody who supported MarkBajerski.com. And thank you for going over there. Remember, guys, if you go to markbajerski.com, on the home page, there are at least 2 or 3 really nice stories. If you click on them, because it's the books, it's the audio books, click on the story and listen to the story. And then let me know what you feel about the stories, how you felt about the crystals and stuff. And what I might do is once a month is change the story. So I'll put another story on, so you can actually listen to the audiobook and listen to a new story every month. I think that's a great idea. Let's do that, shall we? Just tell Philip to do that. Change it. Might be a little bit complicated, but I think it can be done. So go over there and enjoy the website, because there is some beautiful stuff on there. Have a great day. Take care. Oh, don't forget, please subscribe to Mark Bajerski Crystals channel. Look, I'm going to say it because I forget. Yeah. Please subscribe to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. If what I speak about on here gets seen, it could get taken off, and this is my last strike. If I get one more strike, this channel will disappear. So then you're going to wonder where this silly guy is in his normally silly tops. Yeah, and you don't even see, do you? But that's my crystal channel. So there's my crystals today. My crystals today, Mount Shasta, beautiful. This is a genuine piece of lemon quartz, and this is my prototype, Tektite, Moldavite Herkimer diamond. Come over to Mark Bajerski Crystals channel and learn crystals. Might just change your life forever. 17 more days, guys. 17 more days left for the special offer to learn tarot with me for 10 hours on markbajerski.com. I'll put the link below. It's now £100. That's it. You get free delivery, DHL, with the tarot cards, and you get 10 hours with me to learn the magic of tarot the way I see it. Take care.